Hey, yo, it shows 11 a.m. Pacific. Is that
Yeah.
the time you meant for it to start, Carlos?
Yeah, it's at 11 a.m. So it starts right now, though, which is 10 o'clock where I'm at.
Okay, cool. So
Yes,
we're not too
sir.
early?
No, you're not early. It's my time over here, not your time. You're in Central Time.
Yeah. I think that would be, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you're 2 hours ahead of me. All right, so I'm gonna do some Novation training, guys. I want you guys to start paying attention to Novations, just like how you guys are open to wraps. Reason why, because it's been there. We probably missed so many fucking deals since we started as wholesalers and investors. Let's get everybody else in here because this is like some juicy shit. Let's just get who we're missing. Just Aaron and Jesus.
Yeah, I think.
Cool. How was your guys' Friday? What's up, Elio? How was your Friday, man?
Hey, what up, Carlos? It was good. Chill, worked. I'm about to go home, make some calls later on.
There you go. Doing the agent outreach, or like some direct sellers. You're on mute. There you go.
No, I'm gonna call some of from the list that you gave me. A lot of the people from Georgia.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I have lists that we can call. What's up, Jesus?
Hey, what's up, G?
Not much, brother, man. Everything good?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this shit out for my car, so I'm just kind of a little busy right now, but I'm listening though.
No problem. Are you guys gonna jump into the Closers Olympics?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of the like Mason. I didn't even know about that shit. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that shit out when I get a chance.
Join. I don't even know. I mean, I've heard of it before, but I thought it was exclusive to certain people only to join in.
Nah, I think right now that they have I was watching like Liam Benson and this real estate Diddy guy and another guy that are all closers or whatnot. They were talking about it on like a live Zoom. I was watching it, and they were talking about how they're having this year. They're having like a warm-up round or something like that, where it's like, hey, anybody who isn't like a top closer who wants to become a top closer, anybody, if you're a closer or not, or nobody knows you're a closer, but you feel as a closer, we're having like tryouts. So there's like a tryout session where, you know, if they happen to hear you do a couple calls and they like it, then they push you on to the actual Closers Olympics. So anybody can join that. And so that's what everybody's signing up for. So I hit up Liam Benson in his DM. He hasn't gotten back to me. So after that Zoom after the IG live he was on. So I just hit up the other guy he was talking to, which is I follow him too, the real estate Diddy guy or whatever. And I hit him up and said, yo, sign me up for that Closers Olympics. And he hits me up like right away and goes, what's your name, email, phone number, and your Instagram username? I just responded to it. And he was like, got you, saved it. And so he's probably going to hit me up or email me with the dates. I believe it's in like 2 or 3 weeks. But the real reason I'm doing it is I want exposure. I want everybody to know the skill that I bring. And there are a lot of people out there that have their own really good skill. I just need Carlos Ruiz to be heard and be seen with this skill, because you guys see it, Sub 2 sees it. I just need everybody else to fucking see it. Right? I'm not saying I'm the best. I want to take number 1 for sure. I need to be top 3 or I'm going to fucking off myself, you know? But that's just me, right? Having fun. I want to get in there. If I don't place top 3, yeah, I'll probably be like, what the fuck? But whatever, that's just me in my head. You know, if I don't place top 3, I'm like, whatever. I got exposure. I'm going to do my thing in there anyways. I'm going to make the calls sound good. I'm going to go in there. We're going to close some deals. And I think you guys have a big chance too. Like Mason, you guys, you guys have a good chance too going the distance because, like I said, a lot of people they close deals, but it doesn't mean they're really, really good on the phones. They just know how to ask questions, and I believe you guys have an opportunity as well to go that distance.
Damn. Sounds awesome, bro. I know Munif blew up whenever he was a part of that too. I don't know, it was last year or the year before, but same thing, same logic that you got there. He got more exposure, and now that dude's everywhere.
He took number two. He took number two. I found out who Munif was through Omar Lopez. He said, "Hey, watch the Closers Olympics. Check this out." And I started watching it. I was like, like literally, this is what I did when I first saw the first few videos. I was like, I wasn't impressed. I was not impressed at all. That's just not being rude at all. I'm just being straight. Like me being a salesman, right? Me understanding the lingo. I was like, these are the contestants in the Closers Olympics. And then, then RJ Bates popped up and then Munif popped up. And I was like, oh, those guys are fucking, after hearing them, I was like, yeah, those guys are closers right there. They're pretty good. And I heard like one or two more people that were pretty decent, but everybody else in there was mediocre. And somebody in there that was real mediocre, I forgot his name. He goes, oh man, he goes, I typically make like $60,000 to $80,000 an assignment fee. I was like, damn, you suck ass on the Closers Olympic and you still make 60 to 80 grand on the assignment fees. Like in my head, I was like, this motherfucker sucked. And he's still kicking it, But that's because also at the time, wholesale fees were large around that time too. Now they're probably not as large due to the market. But in my head, I was like, these guys all made it, and literally I guarantee Mason and Jesus are a lot further than these. Like, look at it from then till now. You guys could definitely compete in there. And so can I. And I think that we should, for like, it'd be cool to see three powerhouse people in there competing and seeing that all of us are fairly good at it. That's going to be the cool part about it.
Dude, that would be amazing.
You said it's in like 2 or 3 weeks.
It's like February 10th or something, like the following week after that, or weekend.
Oh shit, yeah, bro. I never even heard of this shit before. Is it like, do you do it? Is it online or somewhere where you have to go, like an actual?
Yeah. So what happened is, I didn't know what the hell it was either until Omar Lopez was like, "Hey, watch this thing." And I'm like, "What is it?" It's the Closers Olympics. It's the best real estate closers, or I wouldn't say like I'm guaranteed there's way more closers out there that are way better than the ones that are signing up. Like the Grant Cardones, his teams, all those other big sales teams. They're not even jumping into this shit. This is like the Closers Olympics for all like the mentorships that are all known, like sub 2 mentorship, TTP mentorships, the all in mentorships, the Flipster mentorships. Like all those people who are pretty big on stage who have mentorships, it's basically all the best closers coming out of their mentorships, all their students, And what it is just that it's just everyone nationwide who participates in this type of business that we're in and who wants to compete with each other and have some fun and go toe to toe. And I believe you have like a 30-minute window. They give you provided leads and they give you 6 categories to score in. And it's like all the categories, you guys would totally be fine. You guys will be fine. Like in your flow chart, a lot of the stuff goes in there for you to hit the right questions. Categories are like, did you build rapport? Did you ask the right questions? Did you dig deep into the pain? Like I forgot all the core sections in there, but you guys are going to be fine in there. Like completely fine. You guys are good now. Mason, you role play like in Liam Benson's and you're fine with that. Jesus role plays all the fucking time. So I don't think that he's going to have an issue. I think you guys are already seasoned and warmed up to get into this and actually go the distance and then get looked at, like legitimately, like have people be like, yo, who the fuck are these guys? Let me text them. I think that you guys should jump into it. I'm doing it for sure. So like either get to Liam Benson and hit him up and say that you're trying to jump into it, or go to that real estate Diddy guy on Instagram and DM him and he'll DM you right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah, you are. Massive exposure. I want you guys to do it. Even if you guys are a little bit nervous, it's okay. And the difference between like, losing and winning isn't about being nervous. Because being nervous is in both sections. It's just about what you do with those feelings. Are you going to fucking fray away, or are you going to walk through it with those fears still being there because they're there, right? So if you guys happen to have any shyness or fear just going into this,
let's just rock it out, homie. Who gives a fuck? There's gonna be a lot of times in your life where you're gonna have some type of shyness or fear, especially if you guys are trying to become great. It's gonna take some time. So I recommend you guys and I want you guys to jump in and sign up for it. And actually, I want you guys to sign up for it and then text me saying I hit them up and signed up for it.
I'm doing it right now, bro.
Good, good. I know Jesus will do it after what he's doing.
Yeah,
But
you got
we'll-
Instagram, Jesus?
What up?
I was just asking if Jesus has an Instagram. The application's right on Liam Benson's story right now. That's how I'm doing it.
Oh, it's on the story on Liam.
Yeah, Liam's story. Go there, Liam Benson's, and the
Yeah.
application link is there on one of his stories. That's how I'm doing it.
All right, for sure.
Going on
Sure.
in, man. Thanks, Carlos. Thanks for the heads up, bro. I wouldn't even have known if you didn't tell me.
Yeah, me neither.
My
Same
team,
here.
I need my team to win this. Like, let's just go top 1, 2, 3.
Dude, that would be so amazing. Oh god, that'd be the best.
Right? Honestly, dude, like
Yeah.
honestly, you guys, it's not gonna be hard. Like it sounds like a big competition in my head when I first thought about it. I thought, oh, it's gonna be scary too, but doing it all day, every day with you guys and myself and everybody else, I don't think it's gonna be hard for you guys at all. It's just the only part that's gonna bother you is probably just the mindset thing because now you're in front of a lot of people. But I don't think it's gonna be difficult for you guys to do what you guys normally do.
Killer, man.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck who's watching. Let him watch.
Right? Let him learn.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, guys. My bad about that. Cool. Let's get into this innovation training. All right, guys. Let me hit the whiteboard. So in a scenario, when I break down innovations, you guys already understand how it works, correct? Maybe not fully enough to start learning to pitch it all the time just yet, but you guys have seen me break down the innovation and when it could work, how it could work, and how you can pitch it. Is correct? Sound about right?
With Novation, if I recall right, it's when like the seller wants a little bit more, but it needs a little bit of fixing, and you end up listing it again, right? Like with an agent through MLS, putting it on the market.
Yeah, very similar. Very similar to
Okay.
that. Yeah, who else has who maybe can answer that question what innovation is?
Basically like a partnership, right? On the deal.
Basically, yeah.
So-
It's like a partnership.
And in that situation, that's where we would be making up the difference, right, in the profit, and he gets what his asking price.
Yeah, so in a scenario, what it is it's just when the homeowner is asking a little bit more than your maximum allowable offer. Obviously, it's not like, light years away from each other, maybe 30 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand away from where you need to be. And so it's where a homeowner is asking less than what the market price is or what the ARV is. And they're just asking a little bit more than what your maximum allowable offer is, where it doesn't make sense. It's not going to work cash. Maybe they don't want to do creative. Or a lot of people don't even pitch creative. Like I know people who wholesale and do innovations and don't know creative, and they don't ever bring up creative because they don't know it, but they kill it with innovations. And I just guarantee everybody has a whole bunch of opportunities for innovations. Novations take a little bit of time though. They're not like wholesales and take 30-day closes. It takes 60 up to 120 days to do a novation, because what you're doing is you're listing it. You're basically partnering with the homeowner, whether the property needs a fix and flip or not. If it doesn't need fixing, it doesn't matter. It could be turnkey. But in an event where, let's see, I'm going over the whiteboard. I'm going to go ahead and to the bottom right. I'm going to zoom out twice. All right, here we go. So in an
I got a
event,
question.
what's up?
So, is the owner or the seller like aware that you're trying to sell it? Like, do you tell them up front?
Say that again.
Is the owner like aware that you're like gonna be listing it?
If the property needs fix and flipping, yeah, they're going to be aware of it.
Okay.
If they're going to be aware of everything you're trying to do. It's just depending on how you verbalize it. So when it's in a fix and flip, typically it'll go something. I'll break it down like this. Let's say that your maximum allowable offer is 275,000. Let's say that they're asking, their ask price is 315,000. And let's say the ARV price, and it needs a little bit of work, right? This one needs a little bit of renovation. Let's say their ARV price is 385,000. Right. So you're talking to the seller, right? You're in your normal conversation, you're talking, discussing cash. You ask them what how much they want for the house. They say 315. You ask if there's any wiggle room. They say no. You hit them with 275,000. And that's where you need to be for X amount of reasons. They say no. You say, hey, how close to my number can you get to? This is the lowest I'm going to, Carlos. I'm not going any lower. I won't be able to buy this thing cash. I have other ways to purchase, like I had explained in the beginning, right? And then at that moment, it's like where my flow chart will basically, my flow chart is the flow chart that I have in place is geared towards moving into creative finance, because I specialize in creative finance. When doing a novation, the thing is, this flow chart, you don't have to go through the same steps to go novation. I still like the creative finance route, so I'm still going to use the flow chart, but I'm probably going to create something different for a novation pitch. But because typically the next question we're going to ask is, why don't you list this type of thing, right? That would be like the next question that we typically ask when we don't do cash. And in the end, when you do a novation, it ends up getting listed with the realtor. So if you're using the flow chart, you're going to roll through the questions and then get to creative. And obviously, if they said no to listing it for X amount of reasons and you got through creative and creative doesn't work, then novation may work. But how you'll be able to integrate that and pitch that, and I'll figure out a new pitch deck for novation that maybe I'll do like a flow chart up to the point where it goes cash, and then I'll take off everything else creative and just have one that just adds into novation. But it should be something like, okay, when cash doesn't work, 275 doesn't work, and they say 315. And this is the way that you pitch the novation if this one needs a fix and flip, right? Because this one or needs a little bit of renovation, maybe not a full gut. But anytime it needs a full renovation or a full gut, the way that you pitch it, and it's very transparent. It's very simple. And it's just like, hey, Mason, so I can't give you 315. When I'm buying cash, I got to be at 275, man. Where's everybody else at offering numbers at? 250, 275. Okay, so it sounds like all of us are right there. All right, so 315. The only way that I can do that is if I partnered with you. That 315,000. If I came in and I used my funds, I brought my renovation team and we renovated the property, and we ended up listing it together. We paid the agents, give you your 315. I get reimbursed the money I put in to renovate it, and then I take the difference in profit. Would that work? That's the way that I can get you the 315. The 275 would be the route that I can go cash, but this would be the way that I can do it with you. Now they may say yes, they may say no, or whatever, but that's like a simple way to pitch it. And what happens in this scenario is, let's say it's 315, but it needs 20 grand in renovation. And 10K in assignment fee. Right, so you're really all in 345,000. 345,000 is what somebody's going to get into this deal like this. Let's just say that homeowner says yes to this, like however you pitched it, however you maneuvered. Hey, like, would it be best? I mean, if I was able to give you the 315, that would get the deal done, right? Yeah, okay. So the only way that I can do that is obviously I'm at 275 cash, and so is everybody else. The only way that I can pay the 315 is if I came in and partnered with you on this, where I just renovated it. Obviously, you keep the property in your name. I renovate it with you, and then we list it together. We sell it. That's the best way we're going to get the most money for the property, is renovating it and selling it. It achieves the market price. We pay the agent off, give you your agreed purchase price, and then I take the reimbursement and the difference in profit. And let's say they say yes, and let's say the ARV is 385, and we were able to lock this up. They said, yeah, well, there's some documents that you're going to use, some like Novation documents, attorney in fact documents, which are like notice of interest and things like that we'll get into. But in a scenario where, let's say that this needs 20 grand in renovations, right? So you're all in at 345. You're all in at 345. You sell it for 385. Right? Is that what I have it at? Yeah, 385. You sell it for 385. Okay, right? So there's 40 grand left over. But with that 40 grand left over, yeah, let's just say 6% just to happen for the real estate commissions, right? So at 385 times 6%, that's 23,100. 23,100, which leaves $26,900 left after paying the commissions out. And let's say closing costs and everything else is like 2,500 bucks. So in the end, an end buyer were to buy this, right? Let's say that they say yes, boom, that this is going to work out, right? So this is if you wholesale the Novation, a renovation job Novation, because obviously if you're not a fix and flipper, you don't know how to do it. Otherwise, the next presentation, I'm going to show you how to do the Novation yourself on a turnkey. But in this scenario, we assign this to an end buyer that's going to pay us $10,000 assignment fee, right? And 20K in renovations. What happens is they buy the property for this. This is what they're really paying. That end buyer isn't paying 315 out of their pocket. They're only paying this right here. End buyer, they're paying this, the 30,000, the 30K. That's all they're paying. So what happens is, if somebody's coming in here to pay 30,000 down just on renovation and assignment fee, and turns around after 2 to 4 months and then makes $24,000, 24,400. How much money did that guy make? Like on his money, on a cash on cash return aspect, what the fuck did this guy make? Can you guys kind of like give me ideas? Is this a good idea for an end buyer to buy, some fix and flipper to buy, or no?
The profit's 24K.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a minimal amount, wouldn't you think? That's what I would think.
No.
No?
No. If
I
he
don't
put
think
in
it would
30
be a big
grand,
deal.
if he put in 30 grand and he got back 24,000 $400.
Oh, I see. I got you.
That means he almost made 100% on his money, right? Because he didn't pay 315. He only paid for $30,000. So check it out. So if he ended up paying, the end buyer ended up paying $345,000 out of pocket, or let's just add the let's add the $2,400 in there. So 345, 46, 47, 347,400. If he ends up buying the house for 347,400 and is only able to make 24,400, that's not even 10% on his money as a fix and flipper, because 10% would be $34,740. That's what at least that's what he would need to make. I mean, for him to make a minimum on a fix and flip, he'd need to make at least 10%. Well, in a scenario where a fix and flipper can't do it because it's like 315 kills the deal because there's an assignment fee in there, there's closing costs for renovation. So I can't do it. That's why I need to be right here to give me that wiggle room of the 30 grand difference or 40 grand difference. I need that wiggle room in there, right? So it's like, if he comes in here and buys this for 347,400, and then he's going to also have hard money in there and additional fees, so it'll be a little bit more and things like that. Because he's going to buy cash. Like if he does it this way, it'll be even more money. It'll be higher, 350, 360, who knows? But no matter what, he can't even make 10% because the money he would make back right here is only 24,400 because the max you can sell it for is 385,000, right? So in that scenario, you're like, fuck, I can't lock this up because it doesn't make sense for my end buyers. Well, when you pitch the Novation and they say yes to you, yes, I'm down to do it this way. What happens is now your end buyer isn't spending 347,000. They're only spending 20K in rehab. And the end buyer, I mean, the homeowner, they stay as the homeowner. Their name is on title. What's cool is the partnership is the end buyer isn't paying for the purchase price. That's what makes it valuable, because now it wipes out that large amount of money. The biggest amount of money goes to the purchase price. That doesn't even get included in this section as far as the end buyer buying the property. They're not buying it, they're just renovating it and making the difference on that rehab job. And 10 grand for assignment fee. And let's just put 5 grand for other fees. All right. So an end buyer now is only putting in 35,000 compared to 350,000, right? So literally only putting 10% of that, turning around and making 24,400. Now you think 100% of their money would be 35 grand, right? So 10% is 3,500. All right. Well, 50% is what? 15,525, 17,500. 50% was 60% is 21,000. Just thinking in my head real quick. 70%. 24,500. Bing, 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 bing. Right? 24,400. Now this guy goes from making less than 10% to making 70% on his money, which now makes more sense to do for the end buyer.
The Novation for sure.
Novation, because of the amount of money that came into the deal, was a lot less. 35 grand on the same property, right? And why this is vital is because we fucking walk away when this doesn't work. So we end up hanging up the phone. legitimately without even pitching this part, without even pitching it, because we probably weren't aware or even like understand it that well. It broke it down that well. So that's with a renovation job in place, right? Do you guys have any questions on that so far?
Not really. I was just gonna say, realistically, these are a lot better than wholesaling because you're coming in with a lot lower of a payment.
Say it again.
So not really. I was just gonna say, realistically, these are better than wholesaling because you come in, being able to come in with a little down, you know.
Exactly. If you can get these done, if you start integrating them, I guarantee you they're out there. I guarantee you we legitimately walked away from so many deals because we did not pitch this. Like I can almost guarantee you, I've talked to a lot of people who do this and they say the same thing, like, dude, you don't understand how much you lose until you start really breaking down and understanding innovations. Like you're really like, ah, shit, you just missed all these opportunities. And Susie, did you have a question or anything? I seen your mic come off.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. That's pretty much what Ish and Lewis was kind of telling us. So I'm glad we got to know this strategy, man. So we could start utilizing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the way that those guys pitch it, which is pretty cool, because they basically gave us access to this mentorship that they have. And in there, the guys who created the content, like the Novation, what I liked about it was on a property that's turnkey. It's different when a property needs rehab because you can just say, hey, would you mind if I just fix this, with you? I partnered with you and fixed it. What's harder when the house is turnkey for you to say, hey, do you mind if I just partner with you and then list it with you? Like that makes no sense. They can list it with each other, right? So the way that I learned how to pitch it from these other guys or this mentorship that they gave me access to and Jesus access to is that they say something like similar to this, like, hey, I know cash didn't work, but we have an option that we might be able to work with you. Since we are investors and we do a lot of fix and flips, we have a lot of home buyers that buy from us and agents that work with us, and we have a concierge program. And so we can check if you can verify for the program. But if you can get verified for the program, what it is we have a network of our own home buyers and we have our own paid staff. And so what we'll do is we'll call up our staff, whether it be the agent that we work with or just our other employees on payroll, and they'll call up our home buyers that weren't able to buy the flips that we had recently sold, and we don't have any flips at the moment. So what we can do is we can have them come and take a look at this property. Now they're going to either bring all cash or some type of traditional financing. But yeah, what will happen is they'll come take a look at the property, whether I use my agent or not, just to show the property. I'll go ahead and take care of all the fees. If we close on a deal like this, I take care of all the fees. If I happen to use my agent or not, if I do, I pay the agent. Typically, if you were to list it, you pay your agent, closing costs, you have to clean up things. Me, I'm just going in there, I'm calling up my potential home buyers and I'm showing them this property. And then if they happen to sell it, they're going to pay me my fee as well. Are you okay? If I was able to give you your asking price that you're looking for, would that work? And that pitch to me, I was like, that's kind of genius, because like in reality, he's basically saying, I'm going to list this shit with you without saying, hey, I'm just going to list it. Because in the end, if you just say that, what the fuck's going to stop them from listing it and making the difference in that money? So what you do is you just let them know that, yeah, hey, I'm like a flipper. I'm like a fix and flipper. I typically have a lot of homestead buyers that weren't able to buy the properties that I just flipped. They're on a wait list, and I can call them up and see if they're still looking to buy a house. If they happen to like your house, I'll have them take a look at it. If I'm not available, I'll have my agent come and walk that property with them. Don't worry, I'll pay for everything that's going on. I'm going to pay for my staff. I'm going to pay for my employees, my agents, and everything like that. And this is a way that I can get it done. Typically, this process could take like 45 days. It takes 60 days or so. The reason why is if somebody decides they like the property, if they don't have, $315,000 just laying around, they're going to go to the bank and get approved for some funds. And that's the only part that takes a little bit of time. But yeah, we can make this happen this way. And it totally throws them off. Like, aren't you just fucking listing it? It doesn't even make it sound like you're going to list it at that point, Does that make sense?
So it would be handled like an off-market listing, right?
Eventually, or essentially what you do after you get everything signed and secured, what happens is you just straight up call an agent in the area and then list it. So no,
And
it's gonna go on market. You're literally gonna be just like, if you're literally like the homeowner now and you're just listing it, that's all it is. And here's why.
But you're not listing it until you've rehabbed it, right?
No, so this one's turnkey. So check it out. So this one's turnkey. Let's use this. Let's use the same numbers, but a different ARV. 275 is where I need to be. Let's say they want to be at 310. Let's say ARV is 350. Let's say this property is turnkey though. Okay. So meaning that it could be sold for 350 if it was marketed. Well, you're not too far. You're 25, $35,000 off, and they're like, nah, I don't want to take it. Right. You're working your numbers, That's when you'll pitch what I just explained, like right there. Like, hey, look, Mason, I'm not able to give you 310, giving you cash, but I have a concierge program. And as a flipper, I always have potential home buyers that happen not to buy the properties that I just flipped. And so they're on a wait list. I'm out of flips right now. And so I constantly have phone calls from them. And what I can do is I have a paid staff. I can have my paid staff call these potential home buyers and come take a look at your house. And if they're able, if they like the house and want to buy it, I'll have them pay me. If I'm not available to walk the property, I'll have either my staff walk it, or I'll call my agent that I work with to walk the property and show them. But this is the way that I can give you that 310. If I was able to do that, bring in one of my potential home buyers to take a look at your property, and they say yes, and they were able to give you 310 and still pay me, would that work with you? Well, yeah, Carlos, that's totally fine. Okay, great. Cool. And let's say they agree with it, and then you send over all the documents and then you secure this deal. Well, what happens is, since you told them what you were going to do, you're going to have home buyers come in, and whether you use an agent or not, you are using an agent, and there are home buyers that are coming in, but you're making it sound like, I may use my agent, I may not. These home buyers may or may not walk the property depending on if they're interested or not. So you make it sound like that. So if I was able to get somebody to say, yeah, buy that property and pay me and give you the 310, would this work with you? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great, cool. So now you secured the deal, right? So what happens is you literally turn around and go and list this thing. Now there are some documents now that they give, like an attorney in fact, which is like a power of attorney. And I believe what it does, attorney in fact, I think it gives you I think there's a notice of interest or an attorney in fact. I think maybe there's two documents. I got to go back and look, but an attorney in fact is like not as powerful as a power of attorney, but very similar. Allows you to get like access to like the HUD statements and things like that. We'll break that down on next week's call as I do a little bit more research. But in this scenario, let's say that there's 310,000, that 310 offer gets accepted. So what happens right here is you turn around and list this puppy. You turn around and list it. Yeah, it gives you the ability to list it. There you go. So you turn around and list this puppy for 350 grand. So you're like, okay, cool. You turn around, you're personally the one listing it now, not wholesaling this. You're not going to wholesale a Novation unless you want to, but there's no reason to, because you can just do this yourself, right? If it's a fix and flip and you don't want to do the fix and flip job, then you wholesale that. But right here, why would you want to wholesale it? I mean, I guess you can. I guess you typically can wholesale it for like 10 grand if you want it real quick, and then give somebody the difference in the wiggle room if they wanted to wait on it. But in reality, what will happen is right here, that's minus 6%. Let's say we get it sold. And I'm not sure if they're even doing I'm not sure if they're paying 6 or 6.5%. I think they're doing like 3% to the seller's agent and 3.5% to the buyer's agent. Let's just go with 6%. So $329,000 is left. Let's say closing costs and everything else is $2,500. Right, 29. All right, cool. So at the end, you're left with 326,500 after you find this end buyer, whether it takes 2 months or 4 months. But what happens is you turn around and once your end buyer pays this off, you take this and you pay off 310 and you're left 310 minus 320 or 326 16,500 is what you're left with, and that's you. That's what you're gonna keep. Now it took a little bit more time than a wholesale, but you got it done. And in scenarios, I know a lot of people that are making this like on the minimum, and I know some people are making 20, 30, 40 grand minimum per novation, though they take 2 to 4 months to get done. But this is a way that you can secure a deal without having to let a deal like slither on by. Does that make sense? And you see how the pitch is a little bit different between a turnkey and a fix and flip property?
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
Where do you think so, or where are you confused?
So my understanding is hold on. So basically with a turnkey, you're obviously not putting any renovations into it. You just tell them you have other hopes and buyers that are interested, right?
Yeah. Did you hear how I pitched it or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be like the easiest route to pitch it, because if it doesn't need work, it's a total different pitch, right? Like, hey, man, your house needs work. Like, what if I partnered with you on this and renovated it? That's a little bit different. That's like, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. I'm open to it. This one is not it doesn't need renovation, which there's probably going to be a lot of these, meaning there are probably going to be a lot of these out there, because you're obviously going to be calling and submitting offers and people are going to be declining those offers. So if they're not too far away, you could possibly lock them up this way if they're not asking for like market price. And if they are, you guys know creative, right? So it's like there's that. But this novation right here is very powerful, and I think that we should all be paying attention to it a little bit more and integrating this into our business. Later, Jesus. Is anybody confused on this? Aaron, are you confused at all, or Elio?
No, I get it now.
Okay.
I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it. Just that, like, for me, like, just running, like, from the examples, it kind of makes more sense to go on Novations when it kind of needs a little bit of repairs, because there's a little bit more potential to make a little bit more money out of that. But yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I get it.
I know a lot of people who lock these up more on turnkey properties than they do on renovation properties, bro. And like
No,
I'm
yeah.
saying, like, it's because here's the thing. A homeowner is willing to take a discount on the property, but not like 20 or 30%. So if somebody's taking 10 or 15% off, you can lock those deals up. Because if you're only
No.
having to pay 6% to close, I mean, if you're paying commissions and closing costs, you're paying like 7-8% maybe of the purchase price of a property. So if somebody's like, hey, I want, let's say in a scenario, 100 grand, just to make it real easy numbers, and you have to be, for this to make sense, cash, you need to be at 75 or 80 or 70 or 75. And they're like, hey, I'm willing to break it down to 80, but not 70 or 75. Well, it's like you can lock it up this way, list it for 100 grand, pay the commissions on 100 grand, 6%, which is $6,000 closing costs and everything. Let's say it's $8,000 or $9,000 altogether with commissions, and you listed it for 100 grand. You had it locked up and secured at 80 grand. You sold it for 100 grand. You paid everything off, which is like 9 grand, and you're left with $89,000. Well, then you paid the 80,000 to the homeowner and you kept $9,000. And so what's cool about it is the properties that are turnkey, the ones that, yeah, I'll take a little bit of a discount, like 15 or 20%, but I won't go 30 where you need to be 30 or 40%. That's like an opportunity right there. And then, hey, if I was able to get you that number, would you do this? Because they're like, yeah, I am down to giving this discount, even though the property is worth, $30,000, $40,000 more. Then if there's that wiggle room, bro, if there's $30,000 or $40,000 in the property and it's turnkey, I would try to lock that up and see what's up. I would try to pitch that and get it in there. And that's what I'm trying to integrate now. I'm trying to integrate that more into it. I'm trying to get some done this month and next month, so then I can show you guys how to do it like after I already do it. Because I'm teaching you guys something that I'm learning right now and I haven't actually done it. But I know a lot of people who do this on a day-to-day basis. So I'm definitely going to get in there and try to get this, like, put this into my business model, and then even create some content for you guys and a flow chart to go with it.
No, but not, yeah, no, it makes more sense too, because not all the same, not all the investors or end buyers have the same criteria. So I mean, and not all the agents look for the same thing. So yeah, it kind of makes perfect sense too, because there's gonna be somebody that's gonna be willing to buy it. Because sometimes not everybody's looking for the same thing, or they don't look at those houses like somebody else would. So it makes more sense to do it on Novation too.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just me breaking it down. Next Saturday, I'm gonna go over like a lot of like the terminology that I've been learning with it, and the documents that you're gonna need to get a deal done this way to be secured, and all the legalities and whatnot. So we'll get into that next round or next week, and then we'll move forward from there. Okay.
Sounds good.
Cool, guys. You guys have any questions for me?
No, I'm good, man. I just wanted to clarify that from what I heard, everything that I was just, kind of just absorbing everything. The first, you can pitch innovations two ways based on the condition of the property. If it's in major rehab, then that's going to be like a partnership. Allowing the seller to know that there's going to be a GC crew that goes in there, or you and your team do that. The second way, is not going to be so much of a rehab. It's going to be like maybe just some cleaning up. You're going to pitch the concierge program for your new flips, and present it that way to them, where it's going to be something quick and easy. And you're obviously going to have to they're going to have to allow you to list it on the property, as long as they're aware of all that too. So
That they might not even know that you're doing that.
Oh, they may not know. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they actually know that you're going to be doing that part.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're not doing anything after. They're just waiting for you to bring the end buyer. They're not actually. They don't know that you're listing it.
Yeah. Okay.
The only way that they know, like on the fix and flip part, it doesn't need to be a major rehab. Could even be $20,000 in rehab.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It's small. It's just that, like, what it is when the homeowner wants more from the property than what you can give for it, but they aren't too far away from where you need to be, and they do have a discount from where the market price is. Like, it's in that scenario where they're working with me a little bit, but they're not exactly where I need to be, but they're not far, right? So if they're not far, and there is actual equity in the deal from what they're asking to what it could be sold at, then that's when you go ahead and try to do this.
Gotcha. Cool, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for clarifying.
I have a question for you, Carlos.
Sure.
So all of this has to be under contract before you do anything, right?
Correct. It's not a purchase sale agreement. There's just
Different type of documentation that basically protects you, the investor who's going to put all this time into it, protects you, saying, hey, if I go and doing this, you can't just run away from me or walk away from what we're doing here. You get me? So yeah, there's going to be like some documents in place And typically they're going to be cool with it because they agreed with it. So none of this is really going to be like alarming. As long as everybody understands what the hell's going on, you don't have to exactly explain what you're doing to make your money. But as long as they understand, hey, this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to find home buyers that you work with. And sometimes you work with agents, right? And if you can give me my price, then that's the way you're going to do it, right, Carlos? Yeah. Okay, cool. I am cool with that then. Great. And I get to keep ownership of the property. I keep my name on the deed. I keep all that stuff. Absolutely. I'm not taking over your property at all. I'm just coming in and I'm doing this. That's all I'm doing. I'm just marketing it real quick with some of my end buyers. Oh, okay, even better because now I'm protected. 100%. It's yours.
Would we be treating it as a lien or like a judgment? Like if they kind of bail on it and we actually like, let's say, get put in the money, get it rehab, get it going, and then they're like, hey,
For that one,
we
yeah.
choose
For
not
that
to
one, yeah.
sell.
For that one, for when you put money into it, yes. You can put a lien against the property and all that because you already have documents in place that are going to protect you. For a turnkey property, it's more or less like I'm not sure what you can do because it's not like you're putting in too much financials or like you're not putting in financial restraint into the deal. Could just be like, hey, just you just didn't get any return. That's it. But for
Well,
when you're putting in money into it, yeah, you can record just like anybody, right? Like if a roofer was doing work on your house or a painter and you didn't pay them, then they can put a lien on your house for what you owe them.
yeah, so like if we like obviously like pitch it and it like should we tell like if we do tell them be like, hey, I may or may not list it, but it's not gonna be a active listing. We'll be treating it as an off market listing if I do get an agent involved.
No.
Okay.
So it only makes sense for you to do that. I mean, I understand what you're trying to do, 100%. Like if you
Yeah.
have that good, because here's the thing: if you do that, if you spark that interest, Eliel, what's gonna tell them? Then why the fuck can't I do this?
No, but like what I mean is like when you mentioned that you have that list of end buyers, because obviously, yeah, they might be like, well, I could put it on there, but like I mean, it's not the same resources that that agent would have. No, but I'm just saying that's if you get an agent involved, because you did mention that there might be an agent or not involved on the
No, there
pitch.
100%
That's what I
is.
was asking.
I want to
Yeah.
let you know. I want to let you know right now. There's 100% an agent involved. So this is a
Okay.
pitch to a seller, so that it sounds nice
Yeah.
to the seller. In your head, you know damn well you're gonna list this shit. So,
Yeah. Okay.
so,
Okay.
so, so 100%.
So in
You don't. The only time you want to actually bring up the listing part where it sounds better for you to bring that up is when the house needs rehab. Like, hey, the only way for
okay.
this to make and here's why, dude. Because usually fix and flippers they list it anyways, right? They're gonna list their properties, so everybody knows that fix and flippers list their properties. Otherwise, who the hell are they marketing to, right? So it's like when you're working on properties that need renovation, cool. Be transparent. Let them know the goal exactly. Hey, I'll put the money into this. We list it on the MLS. We pay them, pay you, reimburse me, and pay me the difference in profit, right? But it makes
Got
no
it.
sense, Eliel, for you to on a turnkey property for you to say, hey, I may list this off market. Like it might spark interest right there. Oh, you know what? I'll just fucking list it. Don't bring it
Got
up.
it. Got it. No, okay, yeah, I was trying to differentiate the difference between one and the other approach. That's why I asked. Yeah, because
Yeah,
at that
for
point,
sure.
then yeah, you don't list it then. Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to understand.
Yeah,
If there
yeah.
was a
No
difference,
problem.
yeah, yeah, cool, cool.
Yeah, no problem at all. There are people that ask me like, hey, can I do a novation on an on market property? I'm like, well, not really, right? Because your goal is supposed to list it anyways. The only thing that I can think of that a novation will work on an on market property that's already listed, if it's a distressed property that needs fix and flipping, and the homeowner isn't giving the discount that's needed to actually buy it at the right price, then at that moment you can ask the agent, hey, ask him or your seller, she or he, if they're willing to let me partner with them, renovate it, and then we just relist it with you in a few months once it's renovated at a higher price, giving you more money when we sell it. It's more attractive so it can get sold. And it gives this guy his asking price, which nobody else is giving him, right? That would probably be the
Got it.
only way that I think that you can pitch an novation that's already listed.
Yeah, yeah, especially if you have that person that has that's willing to pay that money, right? Because from what like I was just wondering on that sense because I've seen a few houses that have been on the market for like 90 days or that even got expired. it would just be like, what would be an approach if it even came to that? It would be like, hey, I saw that you have a house listed. Why didn't it sell? Like, what if what can I do, or how can we, if anything else, the creative or cash doesn't work out, be like, hey, let's try listing it again. But the difference is that I have a list of buyers that probably haven't even seen it, that might be interested in the house for a rental, short term, or something that is willing to give you that money. That was my thought process.
Got you. Got you. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's really good though to start integrating. I would wait to start pitching it until we start integrating some practice, because you guys probably might fuck it up. And it actually don't even
Oh, yeah,
matter.
definitely.
It might not even matter if you fuck it up, as long as you're practicing it. But what I'm saying is, I'm going to be creating content today or tomorrow on an actual pitch sheet for Novation, like how to pitch it in my own verbiage or whatever. And you guys all have access to the mentorship. So there's like, you guys go to the creative finance, like brainstorming, case studies, novations, raps, more methods. I have a couple of these underwriting sessions or whatever case study sessions in there on the Novation. And in there, I'm going to start putting like the Novation script, so then you can learn how to pitch it. And then more and more, eventually, as I start doing more calls and getting it in there, I'm going to start putting them in there. But don't forget to get up in, if you guys are not in like creative finance, like mentorships, sub 2 and whatnot, and you guys are learning Novations in creative finance, the good calls are not only the live seller calls, they take time, right? Because they're like 2 hours. The ones that you're going to learn how to like underwrite or basically understand what the strategies are the ones that I just talked about, the creative finance, like brainstorming, case studies. Those ones are just going to be case studies, like how we break down like the novations or Morby methods. And then another really, really good one for you guys to go to is the creative finance calls, the Q&As. Those are the ones that are right after the creative finance 101 section. And those calls I do every Friday with a team. It's usually like 20 to 30 people on there. And it's basically Q&A. But the Q&A is really, really good in there because a lot of people don't understand creative finance in that group, and I'm coaching them. And so there's so many fucking questions that get asked in there that you guys all need to hear. And whatever I don't know to the best of my capability, there's a gentleman in there that helps me out. He's been doing creative finance for like 40 years. And so he backs me the fuck up with everything. Those are the calls that you guys need to get into, those creative finance calls, like the Q&A calls like that. The ones right after, once you get into the creative finance 101 section and the mentorship, I'm adding way more shit into there too. So now I'm going to have a creative finance section, like everything about what it is 101 on creative finance. Right after that, the calls, the creative finance calls, they're like basically every Friday. So you'll see the dates on there. Like, okay, they're all 7 days apart. Those are the ones I'm talking about. They're all about hour and a half, 2 hours, but all of them are juicy. Mason is in like the majority of those calls every Friday. Those are the ones you guys want to jump into the live seller calls or the case studies. So then you guys can start getting familiarized more and more with creative financing. Cool, guys. Much love. And I'll talk to you guys a little bit later, okay?
That's good. Thanks, Carlos.
All right.
Peace, bro.
Everybody,
Appreciate
everybody
it.
sign up. Jesus and
I'm trying to
Listen,
sign up. I signed up already, but it's asking for 2 recordings, and I said I'm gonna try to figure that out. I don't have anything recorded, so
Okay.
it's just
All
only
right.
2, so maybe I can squeeze something in there.
All right. Cool, guys.
All
Take it
right.
easy. Bye.
Later.